we're going to talk stock crankshafts and cutting them. So I got 5 crankshafts, if you include that guy down there. So here we have 2 stock cranks that have been ran, mileage unknown, verified good, and here's what I've measured. What do those numbers mean? Well, here's my plug gauges. Okay, so we're just looking for the difference here. So this plug gauge is 2.50, so carried out to the tenths, 0.000 thousandths, 10 thousandths. And for rods, we're using 2.2500. Okay, so the difference is what we're talking about. Okay, so unless it's denoted by a positive sign, the difference is always smaller. Okay, so this is a -8, -7, -7, -6. So we have 2/10,000ths of variance. That's good. On the rod, same thing, minus. These are small. They've got a little wear on them. That's okay. We can make that up with bearings. Probably some 1/unders. This is one stock crank. It's this guy right here. He's good to go. Here's another stock crank that I haven't named yet because I haven't got it at home yet. Same thing. We got 2/10,000ths of variance. Rods, 3/10,000ths of variance. So this is factory stuff that's been ran. 2 and 3, almost identical there, are identical. So now we get over into the cranks that have been cut. So I have 3 cranks here that have been cut. I have 2 that are 20/20 and 1 that's 10/20. 10, the first number 10 is on the mains, the second number is on the rods. All right, so here's crank number 1, which is this one. So 2.4985 is the dimension, and I've zeroed my gauge. And the thing about this gauge is you just preload it. Okay, the gauge doesn't tell you if it's 10, 20, or 30 under. You have to understand what you're working with here. So if I zero it out to this and the needle just touches it and I zero it, that's a standard. If I let it come all the way around again, that's 10. If I let it come all the way around again, that is 20, and so on. 20 is where we stop. You just preload it. Okay, this is 10,000ths. So the numbers are all going to be the same. Let's see if I can explain the difference. So this is a plus, which means it's on the wrong side of clearance. +3, +4, -5 on the right side of clearance, +4. So we have a variance of 9/10,000ths, almost a thousandth. No, I'm not going to run that crank. That crank is no good. If it's 10 on the mains, they might be able to go 20 in. If we can get them closer, we're good. Rods, same thing. Minus, 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 minus. Oh, plus. Wow, plus. Real big. So no. So what I did for illustration purposes is a 0, and the plus is bigger. The minus is smaller. So here, the biggest one would be 2.505. The smallest one would be 2.497. So we get a variance there of 8/10,000ths. But I can probably make this work, maybe, if I don't get out of spec on the rod bore size. And I probably can't make these work because I don't have a line home machine in the house, and I just suggest that you don't use a line home machine to control your bearing clearances. You don't, but you do have a tolerance. If that falls in tolerance, it's great. These are stock cranks, so they're going to relatively mild builds. They don't need to be in performance. Everything's got to be held to 3 or 4 tenths. We can have a little bit more leeway on a stock rebuild. So this is crank number 2 that's been cut, and this one I know is a 20/20. So we're right at it. -3, -2, -10. So we have a variance of 1,000ths. That's not going to fly. The rods, -5, -3, -5, -7, -3, +2. So here's the math again. 0 is the middle, which would be 2.230 at 20 under. So at 2.2302 is the biggest one. 2.293 is the smallest one, and that's a 9/10,000ths. Again, probably could make this work. Probably can't make that work. They don't make undersized bearings and +11s or +9s. They don't do that. That's why we have standard bearings and +1s or -1s, which is an X bearing. Last crank is the only one that's going to make it. This guy is a true 2020, and he's within 3/10,000ths of each other, which matches my factory crank on the back page. And my rods are within a 10 thou. So the rods are really good. So as we go to bearing clearances and numbers, let's confuse everybody a little bit more. Here's our mains. Okay, our main bore, our main crankshaft bore, our crankshaft diameter on the main journal is 2.4995. The factory recommended clearance is 3/10,000ths to 18/10,000ths. I don't run them that close. I don't think anybody does. So the real world clearances are 15/10,000ths to 25/10,000ths. This works really good on any rebuild, stock or performance. So at 10,000ths, it's 2.4985. At 20,000ths, it's 2.4975. You don't see a variance in there. They call for one size. So, but of course, there is a little bit of variance in the real world. The rods, 2.487, 2.2487, 2.2495. So we have a variance there of 8/10,000ths as I get tongue-tied. So here's what you see with 10, 7785, 20, 67, 75. This is the low side, which means the journal is small. This is the high side, which means the journal is big. And this is the split. If you cut it on a split, which is where I like them, that means they're almost going to drop in. It doesn't matter what bearings I put in there, I can use the bearings. They're probably going to drop in. They're probably going to be within spec. So that's the split. When somebody says they want my crank and I want it cut on a split.